This subject has been taboo for over 4 decades now. Let's explore this potentially consciousness-expanding territory and what future implications it could have on society. Plants have developed a wide range of chemical compounds called secondary metabolites to help them survive. These chemicals can deter herbivores, protect against diseases, defend against competing plants, or reduce damage from radiation, among other functions. Many of these compounds also interact with the human body in different ways, with effects ranging from harmful to beneficial. Some can cause severe health issues, while others have been used to develop important medications. But first, let's explore the history of psychedelics. Psychedelic plants and substances have been part of human history for thousands of years, long before modern science began to understand their effects. These substances have played a significant role in the rituals and ceremonies of various cultures, especially in the Americas, where they were used for both medicinal purposes and to achieve altered states of consciousness. The use of psychedelics dates back to as early as 4000 BC, when the first cave paintings depicting psilocybin mushrooms appeared in Europe and North Africa. By 3780 to 3660 BC, there is evidence that indigenous cultures in North and South America were using peyote in ceremonial practices. During the time of the Aztecs, from 1300 to 1521 AD, mushrooms were consumed in rituals and were referred to as the flesh of the gods in Central America. However, by 1500 AD, as European influence spread, Catholic texts began to label the use of peyote as witchcraft. In the 1800s, scientists and psychiatrists began to explore new drugs, such as psilocybin, and advocated for their use in medicine. However, the recreational use of these substances grew, leading to debates and legal restrictions across the world. The uncontrolled use of psychedelics for recreation overshadowed their medical potential and contributed to the eventual war on drugs, which severely limited their availability and research. Despite this, the psychedelics industry is experiencing a resurgence today. Recent research has highlighted the therapeutic benefits of these substances, prompting many countries to reconsider their criminalization. But more on this later. Let's clarify the exact plants we are referring to. Opium poppy. The opium poppy, native to Turkey, produces opium, morphine, codeine, and heroin from the latex in its unripe seed capsules. The plant is also valued for its non-narcotic seeds, which are used in baking and seasoning. Opiates act on the brain and spinal cord to relieve pain and anxiety, but are highly addictive. They can cause physical dependence and severe withdrawal symptoms, with chronic use leading to tolerance and increased risk of overdose. In some cases, patients who were prescribed morphine described vivid hallucinations from their hospital beds. Peyote. Peyote is a small cactus native to the Chihuahuan Desert in southern Texas and northern Mexico. The cactus tops can be dried to create mescal buttons, which contain mescaline and are known for their hallucinogenic effects. These effects vary widely depending on the individual's mood, personality, and environment. While hallucinations are typically visual, side effects like nausea and vomiting are common. Peyote is not considered addictive and is used in rituals by Native Americans, where it's believed to encourage ethical behavior. In the early 1980s, some Western music icons popularized the use of peyote, leading to a surge in demand. This became so widespread that the indigenous tribes, who have long used peyote in their sacred ceremonies, reported shortages, affecting their traditional practices. For these tribes, peyote is not a recreational drug, but a vital part of their culture and spiritual heritage. Its significance goes beyond its effects, embodying deep-rooted customs and beliefs that have been passed down through generations. Salvia. Salvia is a plant from the mint family with around 960 species, found across Eurasia and the Americas. Known for its hallucinogenic properties, it has been traditionally used by shamans in Mexico to reach altered states of consciousness. Recently, it gained popularity, including use by celebrities like Miley Cyrus. Salvia is legal in the UK and US, with its effects being intense but short-lived, including mood changes, visions, and altered perceptions. Advocates emphasize its spiritual nature, cautioning against its use as a recreational drug. The effects of salvia are known to be so intense that some people have reportedly lived other lives for months and even what feels like years in just a 10-minute time frame. Ayahuasca. ayahuasca is a psychoactive drink made from a Southern American vine, traditionally used by Amazonian tribes. It has gained popularity among tourists in Peru seeking spiritual experiences. The brew is known for inducing intense visions and feelings of rebirth, but it can also cause psychological distress. Users often experience vomiting or diarrhea, which is considered to be a purge of negative energies by shamans. While DMT, the active ingredient, is illegal in many countries, ayahuasca rituals have spread globally, often led by shamans in group settings. Jimson weed. Jimson weed is a plant found across North and South America, known for its white, trumpet-shaped flowers and spiky seed pods. The leaves and seeds contain powerful alkaloids that can cause hallucinations. Used ceremonially by some indigenous peoples, it acts as a deliriant, producing intense and often terrifying visions. However, Jimson weed is highly dangerous, with even small amounts leading to serious poisoning or death. Prolonged side effects like blurred vision are common, and many who try it do not repeat the experience. Just don't bring the wrong type of weed to your next festival, guys. Iboga. Iboga is a shrub native to Central Africa, where its roots are used in religious ceremonies as a connection to ancestors. It contains psychoactive alkaloids like ibogaine, known for inducing hallucinations and used in traditional medicine to treat addiction. However, iboga can be dangerous, especially in high doses, and has caused some serious health issues, including fatalities when combined with other drugs. The plant typically grows in tropical forests, bearing dark green leaves, tubular flowers, and chili pepper-like orange fruits. Now, mushrooms inhale oxygen and exhale CO2, quite the opposite of plants, so they deserve their own section. Psilocybin mushrooms, often called magic mushrooms, are fungi that contain the psychoactive compound psilocybin, which converts to psilocin in the body. These mushrooms are found in several genera, including psilocybe and paneolus. They have been used in various cultures for centuries, with depictions dating back to the Stone Age in Africa and Europe as mentioned earlier, and more clearly in pre-Columbian art in the Americas. The first recorded mention of hallucinogenic mushrooms in European literature was in 1799, when mushrooms were described in a medical journal after causing unusual symptoms in a London family. In the 1950s, Valentina and R. Gordon Wasson introduced psilocybin mushrooms to a wider audience through their participation in an indigenous mushroom ceremony in Mexico. Their experiences were published in Life magazine in 1957, sparking interest in the Western world. Following this, researchers like Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert began studying psilocybin at Harvard University, exploring its effects on behavior and psychological states. Their controversial experiments, including studies with prisoners and divinity students, led to their dismissal, but also to a broader push for psychedelic exploration. By the 1970s, the popularity of psilocybin mushrooms surged, driven by figures like the Wassons, Timothy Leary, Terence McKenna, and others. Books on cultivating these mushrooms and their widespread use as a psychedelic drug emerged during this period. Today, psilocybin mushrooms are commonly used in therapeutic settings, where they are known to increase emotional empathy, creativity, and mindfulness. Recent research highlights their potential in reducing amygdala activation, which can help in processing emotions. Psychedelic therapy often involves patients lying down with eye shades and listening to music, while exploring their inner experiences under the influence of psilocybin or similar substances. And here's a quick fact about ergot. Ergot fungi, particularly the species Claviceps purpurea, grow on grains like rye and produce alkaloids that can cause ergotism, a condition marked by severe symptoms like hallucinations and gangrene. Historically used in medicine to induce abortions and control bleeding, ergot contains lysergic acid, a precursor to LSD. Though ergot itself does not contain LSD, it has played a role in the development of both legal and illegal drugs. Recent studies have highlighted risks associated with ergot-derived drugs, such as heart valve issues in Parkinson's disease patients. Psychedelic uses in therapy. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, remains a major public health issue, and existing treatments, mainly psychotherapy, often offer only limited relief. Despite these treatments, many people with PTSD continue to suffer from chronic symptoms and associated psychiatric and medical conditions. This has led to a growing interest in exploring new treatment options, including the use of mind-altering substances. Although there are still many questions about their mechanisms and overall effectiveness, recent studies suggest they might offer new possibilities for therapy. Research for the use of psychedelics for treating conditions like addiction, depression, anxiety, and PTSD is experiencing a resurgence after a long hiatus. From the 1950s to the early 1970s, psychedelics were largely dismissed as drugs of abuse without recognized medical value. However, recent controlled studies are reassessing their therapeutic potential as supplements to traditional psychotherapy. This renewed interest emphasizes the importance of factors such as psychological expectations, physical environment, and the therapeutic relationship in achieving positive outcomes with psychedelics. While the public often hears about the dangers of psychedelics, much of this information comes from cases involving unsupervised, non-medical use. Emerging research focuses on the therapeutic use of these substances under controlled conditions, weighing both their potential benefits and risks. And to end things off today, here's what we know about psychedelic honey. Mad honey, a dark reddish honey, contains grayanotoxins from rhododendron flowers. It's primarily produced in Nepal and Turkey, where it is used both as traditional medicine and a recreational drug. Himalayan giant honeybees make this honey in the Hindu Kush Himalayan range, and it's also found occasionally in the eastern US. Historically, mad honey has been noted by ancient Greek writers and was used by King Mithridates as a biological weapon against Roman soldiers. In the 18th century, it was even added to alcoholic drinks in Europe, which gave rise to early forms of mead. So there you have it. There are plants that can nourish you, kill you, and make you meet your ancestors. The earth really is supernatural.
It's just honey that you get from a cliff and you eat it and you get stoned. It's crazy.